watching a master at work.
You ready? Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
If you like thick sliced bacon, or you shop at Big and Tall Shops, you're at the place you need to be. 8 o'clock UPTV, tell it like it is. I'm sitting here sandwiched between a quarter pounder and a Whopper. This is Big Joe. Welcome once again, UPTV Channel 6. To my right, the illustrious Harlem Globetrotter, Metal Lark Lemon, Big Wayne. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Joe?
Not a thing. And to my left, Tiki Barber's cousin,
Andrew Barber.
Andrew Barber.
Andrew.
Billy the Barber.
How you? Anybody?
Big Bun.
What up? How you doing?
man? Man, you looking good.
Hey, you are too. That's nice. Nice shirt. Nice.
Nice shirt, like my Illini colors I'm wearing,
You look fresh.
trying to represent. You know, we might have a special guest tonight. I had to dress up. You know, Thanksgiving when people come over, you got to dress up.
Put your best on.
Go get that sweater out the back of the closet.
There you go, that one that's real tight.
Put it all the way to the top,
Putting it-
like Herschel Walker used to do.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Let me get
His neck too big, man. He can't.
Call 911.
You right.
I tell you what, we're going to leave that top button alone because I don't want to be turning red on this show. But UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. Stack Girl's back. Stack Girl,
Hey.
how you doing? You doing all right? How was that training last week? You went to Stack Girl training?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes, I did.
You did? I want to see some receipts.
Okay.
The hotel we sent you to,
In Chicago, yeah.
the training was in St. Louis.
Oh.
What was she doing last week?
I don't even want to ask right now on air.
She was doing Army training, sir.
Well, she didn't finish basic training, but we're glad to have her back. NFL football is about halfway over, wouldn't you agree?
You right.
And some of the things that have come out of the wash right now, Adrian Peterson is the rookie of the year unless he gets shot.
Hey,
Stay away from the grassy knoll,
if it
Adrian.
wasn't for Brady, he might be MVP.
You make
If it wasn't for Brady,
You're right.
I mean, who else would you give it to? If his team can squeeze out a few more wins and make the playoffs, he still might be MVP.
that, you know, but they don't have a quarterback.
Hey,
You know, so
Yeah, they
because
do.
of that-
Chicago didn't either last year.
That's true. That's the other thing I was gonna bring up at this point in the season. The Bears are 3-5. They headed to Oakland this weekend.
Oh, fine.
Did you guys think the Bears, Bundy? Did you think they'd be 3-5 at this point in the season?
Yes.
Wow, that's a 40-ounce of haterade right there.
Hey, keeping it real.
You're
Telling it like it is.
You got a suspect quarterback. Your
Two of
defense is defense gone.
Say,
You got me and you and Big Wayne playing defense now.
ooh, well, you giving up a lot of points if me.
You got to.
playing defense.
Hey.
And the thing about it, they got to outscore players. You got to have a quarterback. And the running back, oh man, is he a running back? Is he a running back or a tiptoe burglar?
I don't know if he can get into the Wilshire Hotel and get Frank Sinatra's ring, but he's not running footballs right now.
He might get there. He might have bet chance of getting that ring.
Right now, the Green Bay Packers, I call them the surprise team of all the teams playing. They're 7-1 right now in the NFC, atop the NFC North. Brett Favre, Packer fans, I'm going to tell you right now, I said 3 years ago he should have retired. Well, that shows you how much we know him, tell it like it is.
You can probably say this division is the most surprising division in football. I mean, taking account, even surprising about the Bears record at 3-5. To most people, you know, other than Bundy, a lot of people are surprised by that 3-5 record.
Right.
And you take Detroit, you know, they putting up numbers on people. So
Johnny
Yeah.
Kenneth said they gonna get 10 wins.
yeah, so you know they might be
Hey,
the most surprising division in
halfway home.
football because
Now,
nobody expected Green Bay to be 7-1.
I agree, Wayne. Bun, who's your surprise team right now?
I would have to say the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I would say my New York Football Giants, but you know they lost. They lost 2 games to the Dallas Cowboys.
How can you call them a surprise with all the veterans they have?
They lost to the Dallas Cowboys, and they lost to the Green Bay Packers back-to-back.
Okay,
But
that-
at the beginning of the year,
Them
who
legit
would have thought?
losses.
Who would have thought the Packers would be where they at now? You know, you figure 1 or 2 games of fluke. I mean, look at the first 3 games of the year. All the surprise teams that was sitting at the top. Where they at now?
Yeah. Now, in the AFC right now, San Diego started the season off
2-team race.
looking like, and Phillip Rivers. I think right now the San Diego management is kicking themselves because they let Drew Brees go. They kept Phillip Rivers, and they fired Marty Schottenheimer, and Norv Turner is a coach. And they're 4-4 and going nowhere fast right now. You got Indianapolis, 7-1. Tennessee, I think in the AFC, if you want to call a surprise team, I'd have to say Tennessee Titans right now in midseason. They're the surprise team. Who are you looking at in the AFC, Wayne?
That's my surprise team.
Your surprise team.
Ooh, man. I have to go with probably Jacksonville, man. I mean, getting rid of that was a big move, getting rid of Leftwich. Just getting rid of somebody that's well liked in the locker room like that. You would think the team would have took a hit on morale, but they kind of stepped it up and played good football so far.
Yeah. Bun, AFC, any surprise teams over there for you?
Surprise. I mean, don't nobody really stand out. I mean, the AFC. Look at the AFC West. I mean, like you got the Chiefs and Denver going for first place, and
Yeah. Yeah, Denver's 3-5. Kansas City, after a slow start, are 4-4. They're bringing it up. The other surprise team I'd have to say right now in the AFC is the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
5-3. That's why they're sitting here on the table with us. But before we continue on with this conversation, we'll go to these phone lines at 328-8280. Caller, tell us what's your name. Tell us where you're calling from. Tell it like it is.
My name is Norvell Boswell. I'm calling from Champaign.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Excellent, Norvell. How you doing this
All
evening?
right, what's up, Joe? How you doing, man? Hey, Adrian Peterson is a beast, like you said, a minute time. Hey, I got a question for you, too, callers.
Yes, sir.
The New York counter was sitting in front of that gentleman, and the Chicago Bears was sitting in front of the other gentleman. Me and my people watching the show, we just want to know, can those guys actually football helmets, or how does that work?
Well, I tell you what, caller, you come on down here to this. You come on down here, 400 South Vine or Bend, Illinois. I'll put this helmet on and show you how it works.
I think we need one of them Juice Williams helmets for him.
How about the other guy,
Chicago guy, Big Wayne.
I think you need to change your TV channel or something. This is a Cleveland Browns helmet on.
All right, appreciate it, Norvell. Take care, man. Well, first of all, Norvell got to recognize that these are replica helmets. And I don't think any of these heads on this set are going to fit one of these helmets sitting up here.
For the right price, I'll fit it.
Only thing these helmets are going to hold is 2 scoops from Dairy Queen with a little chocolate on top.
Right.
And that's about it.
It's cherries.
Right. Going back to the NFL, we talked about some of the comings and goings that's happening since we hit the midpoint. We just had Super Bowl 42.5. The New England Patriots took on the Indianapolis Colts last week over in Indianapolis. Final score was 24-20. He's holding the placard up, as you can see on the television there.
Oh, Skip Bayless.
Yes,
Would
sir.
you like to eat this?
No, I tell you what. Let me hold this. I'll hold it up and see. At least I can still roll with what I did. Last week I said Indianapolis will win in a tight one, 31-28.
Is that an
And I came
asterisk
out
in the
wrong.
front of his head or a star?
Once again, we get some feedback from the sidelines. A lot of these guys here made mention of the fact that it wasn't even going to be a close game. And with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Indianapolis was up 20. But I'm going to go right to one of the phony prognosticators, Big Wayne, to find out what the difference was in this game. Big Wayne, what was the difference in the Colts and the Indianapolis
First of all,
New England Patriots game?
That defense that you said was so old, got a few numbers here, Mike Vrabel been in the league, 11, 12 years?
Yeah.
5 tackles, 1 sack. Rodney Harrison, He's been in the league, what, 20 years?
Yeah.
6 tackles, key interception. Roosevelt Colvin, 1 sack, forced fumble. That's a lot of production out of
Some old guys.
Old men, you know. And keeping 10 penalties, 146 yards compared to 4 for 25 yards. That's how the game stayed close. I don't know what did Goodell put the call in or what. You know, let's punish these Patriots for Spygate.
If you ask the real guys, you know, we the for real guys, but the real guys, they would say Peyton Manning had a bad day. He gave the game away, and you know he's not
the coolest quarterback won the game.
You're right.
The coolest quarterback.
Hey, he
when
went
it
out
came
there.
down to it,
He
won
went
the
out
game.
there. They was down. They said the Indianapolis coach never give up a play over 20 yards. And what did he do? He chunks it downfield. Randy Moss sitting at the 7-yard line.
Right.
Like it wasn't nothing. Randy Moss and Tom Brady took over that game.
You're correct. I think if you go back to that game, for the first 3 and quarters, if you can say 3 1/4 quarters, like I just tried to do, the Indianapolis Colts basically dominated that game. Joseph Adai, as I said last week, was going to run all over the Patriots. He was kind of having his way.
200-yard day.
Screen pass right before halftime to set them up for the lead. Peyton Manning wasn't having one of his strongest games, but I think the biggest statistics that comes out of this particular game was New England was 3 out of 4 in the red zone in terms of scoring. The Colts were 1 out of 3 in the red zone. You can't score field goals against a high-powered
To add to
offense
that,
like
Joe, those trips in the red zone by the Colts were early in the game. If if they go in there and get two early touchdowns, with the home crowd behind them and the flags behind them, that game could have been over early. But they couldn't punch it in. They had to kick field goals, and that left Brady a chance to come back and take the win from him.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the other difference in the game was the fact that Bundy mentioned it earlier. Randy Moss, he was the X factor. As well as the Indianapolis Colts defense played, they just did not, and no team for that fact has a defensive back that can match up with Moss when he's in that setup. The Colts on the 50-yard play that you guys spoke of in the fourth quarter were in a cover 3. And he still got behind the safeties and still brought that ball down. And because of that, that was the X factor. The other thing, no Marvin Harrison. When the Colts got in the red zone, Reggie Wayne, you spoke about this off the air. Reggie Wayne is not a red zone or possession receiver. They tried to go to Gonzalez earlier. He's a good receiver out of Ohio State, but he's not Marvin Harrison.
Broke his finger, broke his thumb.
Broke it, right. High-pressure game, though. But, hey, right now, I brought it in for you. The Sports Illustrated, you didn't have to give me this placard. You taking that placard back.
No, this is a sandwich. You're supposed to eat
A crow sandwich?
No, because I said 31-28, and you both sat here and said it was going to be a blowout. It wasn't going to be close. It was a good game.
I said 38-24.
I'll say exactly what your little sexy quarterback said. That game means nothing.
That's true.
Because until we get to the end of the season, what's going to happen?
Hey,
so my kudos, I give out a half a kudo.
It means a little bit, though, Joe. Last year, the Patriots had to go to the Colts and try to, for the trip to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, this year, this game could be the X factor, and the Colts having to go to New England this year in the AFC Championship.
If they make it.
Yeah.
Well, I think right now we've got Indianapolis is clearly the number 2 team behind New England in the AFC. Pittsburgh just thrashed Baltimore Monday night. Ben Roethlisberger looked terrific with 5 touchdown passes in that particular game. They're clearly the number 3 team in the AFC. Yeah. So what you're looking at now is how it's going to play out for the rest of the season. Home field advantage, if things keep going the way it is going to stay with New England. I agree with you there. The key for New England is who's coming to New England in the divisional round before the championship game. That'll make the deciding factor as to what the championship game will be played. But right now, the way the New England Patriots are playing, the way Tom Brady's playing, looks like it's going to be tough to beat. We still got another 8 games to go for most of the league, so we'll see how that flows there.
And speaking of NFL.
Speak of it.
Why Pac-Man go to New York? Why he waste his time? He wants some freaking flyer miles.
No, he heard about them strip clubs in New York.
You want to do some shopping, Saks Fifth Avenue.
He going to sit in office with the commissioner. He go like, no, please, no.
Pretty please.
No.
Go to your room.
But
Phone call. Beep. I gotta go. He's denied. He should have known that.
yeah, but I think, with the collective bargaining agreement with the NFL Players Union, he had to go in just to save face and, make it seem like
He
gave
really
it a
cares
chance.
about coming back.
Bingo.
Yeah.
But I think we all knew with what happened out there in Vegas and some of the other stuff and
Especially with the case still going on.
Bingo.
There's no way he's getting back this year.
What happened in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas.
Not this
It
time.
went to New York.
It went all the way to New York, and it was faster than the internet.
You're right.
So
That
I
wasn't
agree.
DSL. That was DSL.
On that topic, Chris Henry was reinstated. I read this week he got into another altercation with a parking attendant. He's telling the parking attendant, "Don't you know who I am?" That's another guy.
He's walking on there.
He a threat
Walking on
away.
eggshells?
Yeah.
Well, right now, Stat Girl's not walking on eggshells. She's doing her job. We'll go to these phone lines, 328-8280. Call us. Tell us your name. Tell her where you're calling from. Tell her like it is.
What up, man? This B. I'm calling from Champaign. Calling out of my buddy Big Wayne. I see y'all talking about the NFL. I'm glad to see you fellas on here doing your thing, man. I've got a hot topic, man. I just want to know what y'all thought about that rookie from Minnesota. I know y'all got something to say about it. Go put it out there. Tell me how it is.
All right. Go
Hey,
ahead,
look,
Wayne.
you probably missed the show at the beginning. Missed the beginning of the show. I put it out there. If it wasn't for Brady, you looking at the MVP of the league. Like I said earlier, if the Minnesota Vikings can squeak out a few more wins, he just might snatch it from Brady. Because Brady is typically doing what everybody thinks he should be doing. But to come in this league as a rookie, really wasn't even starting, the first, 4 or 5 games?
Yep.
And, to put up those type of numbers, he's headed for over 2,000 yards. Ain't no way he shouldn't be the MVP.
B, anything else?
That's true. The man of beast.
No, I ain't got too much more to say. I just want to know, hey, I thought about him. I was going to touch on the topic. He don't even start, and he out here running crazy. So I just want to know what everybody thought, because everybody been, looking at LT for so long, like he just been the truth for so long, or whatever. I like to see rookies come up on the rookie.
And he outshined him on the same stage this Sunday, which was huge. He said he grew up idolizing LT, who was from Texas, just like AP, and then he got a chance to share the stage with him, and he took it over. So, shows you he got ice in those veins, and he's ready to play some ball.
Well, B, we appreciate your phone call. You hit us anytime. UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. Take care.
You too.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Wayne. At the mid-season point, he's the offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
And he's got to be in the running for MVP of the league. But when you associate, I think, a player with an MVP trophy, there's still wins have to be correlated with a 3-5 record. It's going to be hard for him to snatch that from Brady.
Yeah, unless he come up with 2,500 yards, which is very capable. If he come up with 2,500 yards, they cannot deny him the MVP of the league.
And he broke the single game rushing record.
Right, which I'm glad you brought that up, because looking at Adrian Peterson right now, who does he remind you of when you think back, whether it be an O.J. Simpson, a Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders?
I got to go
Eric
Bo
Dickerson?
Jackson.
You go with Bo Jackson?
The speed and the power.
Okay.
No one man is bringing him down, and whoever you seen catch him from behind. I got to go with Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson?
Yeah.
Bond, who do you think?
O.J. Simpson.
O.J.?
Not as nimble, not as shifty.
O.J. wasn't nimble, but
Oh, he was
O.J.
pretty
come through
shifty for a 6'3"
O.J.
dude.
come through that line and pew.
Yeah.
He's doing it now too, pew, but he looks slower.
I have to say 2 players that he reminds me of. Number 1, Eric Dickerson, with his upright running style. But I have to throw a mix of Bo Jackson there with Wayne, because Adrian Peterson runs angry.
Right.
He's mad at somebody, and whoever he's mad at, when he catch you, you're going to have to pay for it.
What they say, a violent runner?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is a very violent runner.
He run like Mike Sharper.
Yeah.
Y'all know he is. He from down south.
No shoes, Mike Sharper. I
Like
remember
that.
him. Mike Sharper come on the field and cut off jeans, no shoes. and
No
take
face
off.
mask.
No
face
fit.
mask.
And run over you.
Right. Had 1 tooth.
Yep. Run you straight over.
When I was about 6th grade, they did a little film on Mike Sharper. We saw about Angry Mike Sharp.
It was 8mm film. Real to real.
Mm-hmm. You used to get to set it up.
I hear
You know
you.
you was good that day when they let you set the film up.
You know what? Speaking of that, you know when something going to happen, you know something might happen,
Yeah,
and you want to
kinda
put something out there,
Start
like
putting that little seed out there.
throw that little seed out there. Don Shula threw one out there this week.
Don Shula did throw a seed
He said,
out there.
"Man, they cheating."
Who?
I don't know who he talking about.
That's kind of
Don
coming
Shula
from somebody
need to
like Don
stay
Shula.
on them. What is stay on them? Jenny Craig commercial or Nutrisystem,
Nutrisystem.
and be quiet.
If the folks out there in UPTV land are not understand what we're talking about, Don Shula this week made some comments about the New England Patriots, saying that with the fine that was levied this year with the Spygate and $500,000 losing their first-round pick and Bill Belichick getting fined $250,000, that this kind of tarnishes their season if, in fact, they go all the way and go undefeated, and there should be an asterisk put next to their undefeated season, similar to what happened with Barry Bonds and his 756
And
home runs.
what's funny about that is, from what I'm understanding, is they didn't even get a chance to use the tape. They got caught before halftime. The tapes were confiscated, so they didn't even get a chance to go over the tapes and be able to use the knowledge that they gained in the second half. So, really, what is everybody crying about? If the tapes were confiscated at halftime, they didn't get to use them.
My question to you, Wayne, is what about the comments the Patriots made in terms of Mike Vrabel basically saying Don Shula is an old, washed-up coach and the 72 Dolphins are old, washed-up players?
They are.
Hey,
Larry
my
Zonka
comment is
can't walk.
no champagne popping this year.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
What do you say, Bun?
Hey, Larry Zonka, can't walk.
You know how it is. You hear it all the time. These old guys, these young boys don't. You
I
know,
mean,
they don't
that's-
want to get the young guys credit. I mean, they going out there,
that's-
they playing
hey,
ball.
Any
give them
sport,
their due.
any sport that's kudos to them. That's hard to go. I mean, back in the day when you played football, when Ronnie Lott, them guys played. But it was before Ronnie Lott. But I mean, you had like Mercury Morris, all them guys to go 16-0 and win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And a whole lot of people don't know they lost Bob Greasy halfway into the season.
Yeah, Earl Morrall.
Earl Moore, old school.
The old black high tops. He looked
Yes,
like
sir.
Unitas number
Yeah, with the
15.
old square helmet.
I think one of the comments I'll make on the issue is that I think everybody kind of waxes nostalgic. When they think about their era, they always think their
It's
era
better.
is the better.
Yeah.
Is the best era that ever played the sport. And Don Shula was a great coach at Miami and at Baltimore in the 60s and the 70s. The 72 Dolphins was the only undefeated team in the NFL. But to even comment, I know he made a comment that he was asked a question and he just answered it. I don't even think you have to answer it at this point.
No.
You should wait until the end of the season to see how this thing plays out. The other thing about the Spygate, it was the first game of the season. If after that game the Patriots would have lost 2 or 3, maybe there'd have been something to
legitimate.
Spygate.
You're right.
But there's nothing to Spygate because even though it was the first game, Eric Mangini turned in Belichick for, I think, some other reasons other than the fact that he was using video.
Hate.
Their signature.
Hatred.
A little hate was going
Yeah,
on.
you know, it's mighty odd that, okay, this extra season, he knows this is going on. Why don't you say that when you work for the Patriots?
Yeah.
You know, you got to take credibility in that too.
He on the verge of losing his job too. So he reaching too.
Yeah, well, Mangini might want
Man,
to
they cheating, dog. They cheating.
He might want to get some cheating dogs on his team because with Chad Pennington's arm about ready to fall off, Kellen Clemens is not the answer in New York. They pulled Thomas Jones off the Bears roster, stuck him back there behind a bad offensive line.
They could have flipped the coin, him or Benson. It don't matter.
Right, they're really having some troubles there in terms of New York. So that's where the issues are.
I tell you what, guys. Chad Pennington making the MAC conference look bad.
Yeah, he making the MAC
You got
quarterbacks. The MAC quarterbacks stand up, man.
MAC quarterbacks have stood out. I mean, he had Leftwich and all them guys. And here comes Chad.
Roethlisbergers.
Yeah, then you got Chad Pennington come in there with the floppy ears, look like the New Year's baby on Rudolph Shiny Nose Reindeer.
Well, you got to understand, though, that Chad Pennington was hurt, had some major surgery on his
Well,
shoulder.
quit.
Well,
Cut him.
He's not going to quit. They owe him too much money just to cut him outright like that.
Man,
but that's why they went out and drafted Kellen Clemens from Oregon, and now it looks like he's going to be the quarterback of the future for the Jets. So the Jets, like I said, their issues have moved on. Don Shula, keep selling steaks. And like the fella said, check out the Nutrisystem thing. Handle that. But don't comment on the Patriots anymore till after the season's over with. Now, talk about the season almost over with. We're counting down right now to BCS championship.
Ooh-wee.
We've only got about 2-3 weeks really left in the regular season before we start separating the contenders from the pretenders.
Are they contenders?
I told you 2 weeks ago.
Front runners.
Who the contender, who was going to be the champion. You're holding the right placard up right now.
No.
You're holding the right, well.
Hey, it's a team that's snuck back in there, kind of, back under the radar.
Me and Big Wayne said LSU.
Well,
Here they come. They look.
I'm gonna kind of change my tone, man. West Virginia, man.
West Virginia?
They lost that game, earlier in the season. Now they kind of sliding back in there unnoticed. Hey, but watch out for Slayton and White.
Well, Bundy, I'm going to go to you first. You just commented on LSU and the fact that LSU is sitting right now
In a dangerous spot.
Yeah.
Number 2 is a dangerous spot.
It's been dangerous all year. You ask a few teams, ask South Florida.
Right.
Are they even ranked anymore? But LSU is sitting number 2. Ohio State's number 1. Oregon's number 3. LSU still they got Louisiana Tech this weekend. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But then they still have to go through the SEC championship game.
Yeah, they had Arkansas, which is a big rival.
Right.
I mean, this is like Georgia, Florida. Arkansas, LSU, the Friday after Thanksgiving. Man, it's something. And McFadden going for the Heisman. And Dorsey, Dorsey coming back. He want to play for the national championship. And then they got to turn around, if possible, play in the SEC championship game in Atlanta, Georgia.
Now, there's 3 teams, Wayne, I'm going to turn to you, that I don't really hear anybody talking about. I don't hear anybody talking about Oklahoma, Kansas, or Missouri. Kansas just dropped 76 on Big Red.
On the black shirt.
The black shirt is the dead shirts now.
Right.
They dropped 76 on their head. They put 50 on the board twice this year and 60 on the board once. Kansas is a hot prospect that's sliding under the radar. Illinois played Missouri at the beginning of the season. Illinois played them tough, but Missouri only has 1 loss in their record, and so does Oklahoma. What's up with the Big 12?
Everybody talking about the SEC. You stack them up against the Big 12 right now, I think the Big 12 will beat them.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, the Big 12 is spreading the field out and they throwing the ball.
Kansas.
The SEC is kind of boring, man. I mean,
Kansas is the luckiest team in football.
Okay.
They have played.
You know what?
3
That's why
games
we got the
outside the state of
BCS.
Kansas.
That's why we got the BC. Okay, Kansas just might fall back to third in the Big 12, behind Oklahoma and Missouri. Who knows?
But right
Your
now,
number 3 team from from the SEC. Who can beat Kansas?
Florida.
good question, Grasshopper.
Florida? Come on, man. They can't even beat Georgia.
Oh, Georgia could beat them.
No, okay. We'll see.
Well, right now, you've got, as I said earlier, Ohio State number 1, LSU is number 2, Oregon 3, Oklahoma 4, Kansas is 5, Missouri is 6, West Virginia, who just played last night and pulled a tight one out against Louisville, is 7. Those are your teams right now that are in contention for the BCS championship.
Don't leave out the Huskies
The Huskies,
and UConn.
we will leave them out.
Right.
Hey, they right up there.
And the BCS will too.
Right. Thank you. The
Come on,
Huskies,
Bunny. They don't got enough following, man.
they're just like Boise State was.
Don't
like,
worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Their strength of schedule. They don't have-
Upset this week. Cincinnati will beat them.
You think Cincinnati?
Oh yeah.
Now-
Cincinnati late for games like this. They like the old. They call them the Bearcats. Bearcats. Down south in Kentucky, Bearcats run wild. And they sneak up on you, and when they sneak up on you, put that claw and yow.
Well, the Bearcats might do that to UConn, and even if they don't, the strength of schedule for UConn is not strong enough to even be considered in the BCS. Now, the number 1 ranked team in the nation is Ohio State. After last year, everybody thought with Troy Smith leaving, Antonio Pittman gone, Ted Ginn, they had lost those 3 cogs in their offensive machine. Everybody thought this year would be a rebuilding season, especially after the beating they took with Florida in the BCS championship game. Well, they proved everybody wrong. That must have been some fuel of motivation because now Ohio State is back at top of the driver's seat. They've got a game this weekend in Columbus against
The
our
Fighting
Fighting
Illini.
Illini. Illinois goes into this game 7-3, bowl eligible, atop the Big Ten in terms of the third place position behind Ohio State and Michigan. Bundy, I'll start with you. Ohio State, Illinois, what do you see?
This will be a good game. I mean, for Illinois, they need this game. This is a high marquee game for them. For Ohio State, this is a sandwich game for them because next week they play the Wolverines. And, you know, this could be a dangerous game. Mark May of ESPN, he said, you know, watch out. Juice Williams and Mendenhall are playing good ball right now. But I think Ohio State will win, but closer than the experts think.
You think that?
Oh, yeah.
Because the experts think.
The numbers said the last 2 times Illinois played Ohio State, number 1. Last year, 17-10. 2002, 23-16. So, you know, they ranked number 1 again. You know, see if history can repeat itself. Well, not repeat itself. Illinois hanging there long enough, you know, a turnover, anything can change the game. So.
Right. One of the tough things about this game is that you just mentioned that Ohio State is the number 1 ranked team in the nation. Illinois, this will be the 18th time Illinois will be playing the number 1 ranked team in the nation. Illinois is only 3-14 against the number 1 ranked team.
Last one was
Last time,
1956.
1956, exactly. When
That's the year you born, wasn't
it? Come on now, give me a little bit more credit.
Oh, at 57.
It's a 6 in my birthday, but it ain't
Well,
a 50.
Joe, let's put it like, you know, they say oil and water don't mix.
Right.
65 yards a game on the rushing side, Ohio State defense. Illinois, 261 yards a game.
Right.
That's oil and water. Which one gonna break through, man?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Bud.
I'll tell you what, man. Illinois, here's the key to the game. Illinois got to come out and play smash mouth football. They got to hit him in the mouth. Don't come out and run the old trick plays and old sideline whip
Second
around.
and 10, second and 12.
You're right. They got to stay in short yardage situation, time-consuming drive. If they don't, if Ohio State gets out and that bag gets to playing after that and dot that I and stuff, it could be a long
my take on it is I think they have to scrap that option. Just go straight at them. You know, Ohio State got too many athletes to be trying to spread the field out. You know, you get them guys running sideline to sideline, The best way to beat a fast team is running right at them. Yep.
I think you guys are talking about the wrong side of the ball. I'm going to tell you what the concern I have for tomorrow's game.
Oh, Skip Bayless, get ready to speak again.
Brian Hartline and Brian Rubisky. You've got 2 receivers that are large in terms of their size and stature. Rubisky's got almost 1,000 yards receiving. The man under center, Todd Beckman, almost a 2,000-yard
23 touchdowns.
Already with 23 touchdowns. And then you've got Chris Wells that's already run for almost 1,200 yards. So the side of the ball, I'm not concerned about Illinois when they have the ball. I'm concerned when Ohio State has the ball. How can Illinois stand up and put some pressure on Todd Beckman? He's been able to sit back there basically unscathed throughout the entire season. If Illinois can put pressure with the 4-down lineman and drop 7, they're going to have a chance.
They've been doing that all year, but like I said before, none of the defensive backs have made a play other than Vontae Davis. You got to get these safeties back and not let Rubisky and Hartline get behind them. They can get enough pressure on the quarterback with Norwell and Davis. You know, they did it against Michigan, but the DBs didn't step up and make plays.
Right.
So I would say go with a nickel. Even put Martez Wilson in. You know, let him play a little nickel. He's athletic enough to do it. You can blitz him, and he's good enough to drop back in coverage. You know, you get pressure with that front line. Illinois can do some things on defense.
Well, Coach Zook is a native of Ohio, and he got his start with Miami of Ohio. He was actually on John Cooper's staff at Ohio State when Illinois beat him between 88 and 90. So this might be an interesting turnaround for him. The other thing to look at, last week when Illinois played Minnesota, Illinois put 655 yards of total offense on the board.
I don't care.
I don't care if you're playing Minnesota or if you're playing the Sisters of the Poor. 655 total yards is great, outstanding.
You still got to execute.
And you still got to execute. If they can go out there, that's the reason why, like I said, I'm not concerned about that side of the ball tomorrow. I think the offensive side of the ball The juice and Mendenhall running that ball is not a concern. The area concern will be up the middle, where the Justin Harrison and Kevin Mitchell can stop the deep ball for Hartline or Rubisky and the tight end or coming down.
Got Ray Small. You know, he averages 14 yards a catch.
There you go. So, you know, that's where the area
Another
for
thing,
me.
has Ohio State given up a touchdown at home?
I don't know if they've given up a touchdown.
I don't think so this year.
They only giving up 9.7 a game.
Right.
First in the
you know,
nation.
if-
First in the nation. 220
If Illinois
yards.
could score first, they might bust their bubble. But I'm telling you, you heard it first. Don't tell it like it is. Ohio State win this game, they'll lose next week.
Well, you'll hear it here.
This game might drain them.
You think
you know,
this game is going to drain them?
It might drain them. One thing you do know, I mean, they safeties might not be able to cover, but they can hit.
Yeah.
They can hit. They can hit with the best of them. So, you know, I can see Illinois taking a little bit out of Ohio State's, train, for next week.
Well, we've hit the first half of the show. UPTV, tell it like it is. 30 minutes rolling. Big Wayne, Big Bun, talking about Illinois going up against Ohio State. I think right now, I have to agree with both of them. Illinois got to keep it close for the first 3 quarters. If they can get to the fourth quarter with just a one-possession game, they've got a chance. The other key for tomorrow will be special teams. I'd love to see Vontae Davis or Willis Ben put back there either on punt returns or kickoff returns.
Another key
to give
is
them an opportunity.
another key. We talk about all the glamour positions, but we've been admitting a big player on Illinois' team all season, Jason Rita. They have a better field goal kicker than Ohio State. Rita's pretty much money. So if you can keep that game close and get him within 50 yards, you can see Illinois with the upset at the end of the game.
Well, other Big Ten action that'll be happening tomorrow. We've got some other games we got to talk about in the Big Ten. Indiana and Minnesota, Michigan State, Purdue. Michigan goes to Wisconsin.
Another sandwich game.
Minnesota goes to Iowa, and then Penn State is on the road in a non-conference game against Temple. Bun, I'll start with you. Any of these games jump out at you? Indiana, Northwestern, to start with that one.
Not really. Wisconsin, Michigan.
Wisconsin, Michigan. Talk about that one for a
That could be a dangerous game for Michigan. I mean,
Going to the Red Sea.
right.
It's a tough
You
place
know,
to play.
Wisconsin beat them last year.
No, Michigan won last year.
I mean, the year before, excuse me.
Year before, exactly.
Michigan was their
Up
only
there,
loss last year.
One of the things I think on that game that you're talking about, Mike Hart played the first half last week against Michigan State. He tweaked his ankle again. He's questionable as to whether he's going to play against Wisconsin. The other thing in that game is that Michigan's defense played very well up until they played that Michigan State game.
Yes.
And in the third quarter, got chewed up on the ground. Wisconsin's got a real good ground game. I think that's going to be a concern. And you talk about a sandwich game for Ohio State against Illinois. This is a sandwich game because Michigan, if they look ahead or look past Wisconsin, that bubble of this 8-game winning streak could get burst against the Badgers up there in Madison. So
Yes.
I think they need to watch their back.
You know, they on a mission right now. This
Yeah.
Appalachian State, they're on a mission to prove the world wrong.
Yeah.
Not the country, the world.
Right.
Well, Stat Girl's on a mission. Caller, tell us your name. Tell us where you're calling from. Tell it like it is.
I need the red, man. What's up?
What's going on with you?
Hey, how many Big Ten teams you think will make it to bowls this year?
Excellent question. Wayne, I'm going to come to you with that one.
I'll say 6. I'll give you Purdue, Penn State, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, and Ohio State.
Okay. Bundy,
I agree.
you agree in terms of that? I think it's going to be 6 also. I'm looking at Indiana. If they can beat Northwestern on the road, Purdue has Michigan State at home. They'd be 8-3. Wisconsin and Michigan, they're locked for bowl games, as well as Illinois and Ohio State. Penn State might slip in there, and that might be your 7th team out of the Big Ten. So 6 for sure, and a possible 7. So if we play in spades, we might have a Boston for you. Anything else?
Okay, yeah. If Ohio State loses to Illinois, then Kansas loses, and I think it's one more undefeated, right?
Oregon.
Oregon. Well, no, Oregon's.
If everyone would you think would be with one loss in the BCS championship game?
Oregon.
I'm with you.
That's what you think, caller.
Don't even have to say anything, caller.
The Bayou.
We don't have to say anything.
Oh, man. LSU, them scrubs.
They kind of took the look. I don't know about LSU, man.
SEC, man. It's the SEC.
They could blow you out or barely win.
That's what.
That's what I mean. I don't know about it. I mean, it's one of those teams.
Hey, caller.
High school squad.
Caller, you got to win ugly. You can't have all blowouts because you get a situation, a tight game, you wouldn't know how to act. So,
Well,
okay.
I'll tell you what, caller. On that big wide screen that you're watching this on, I'll just hold it up for you one more time. That's from me to you, because you know your sports, and every time you hit us, you tell it like it is. Appreciate your call.
All right, man, brother. Peace out. God
Take-
bless y'all.
all right.
care.
Thank you.
Shucky, ducky, quack, quack.
Quack,
Quack, quack.
The ugly costumes, as you call them.
Right,
The
ugly.
duck.
They showed them Saturday. They got 10 different costumes
Yeah.
they got.
Well,
And 2 helmets.
2 helmets, 10 different costumes, 1 BCS trophy.
Well, you better hope Dixon stays healthy.
Dixon, I don't
Hey.
have to hope.
Hey, we hope
They got Ryan
everybody
Leaf.
stay
They
up.
got Ryan Leaf. Baby brother's a backup.
Yeah.
Well, you know he was a great college player.
Yeah. But hey, that's all I want. I don't need him to be a great pro player. I just need him to do his job in college. And if he does his job, then we'll move on to the BCS
Yada
championship.
yada yada.
So, I know you over there, you really ain't liking this right now. I know you guys, y'all like to sandwich me with my predictions. But this one I think is gonna hold true.
Yeah, I'm with
Because-
you on the Oregon, to the championship game. I'm with
Yada
you on that.
yada yada
See,
yada.
another thing I think, when you talk about the SEC for a quick second to back up to your point about LSU, they beat each other up.
That's true.
And because of that, just like you talked about what might happen tomorrow with Illinois and Ohio State, I think it happens every week in the SEC. That's why this year there's so much parity in the SEC. I can't see a team coming out of the SEC playing for the championship. I'm looking more of Oregon and
Ohio State. It's gonna be Ohio
you
State.
think Ohio State's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
gonna
the
be
team?
Ohio State.
I would love to see that match.
The best thing for Ohio, they beat Illinois, which I don't want to say. And no matter how the Michigan game turn out, as long as it's a close game, or if they lose in a close game, I still see them playing for the championship.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
one of the things, we talk about Illinois, kind of switching gears here. Football teams only got 2 games left in the regular season. Ohio State tomorrow, and then Northwestern to close the season out. But the basketball team is getting ready to kick things off Sunday over at the Assembly Hall when they start the opening of the 2007-2008 Fighting Illini men's basketball schedule. They take on Northeastern. After that, Illinois is going to go on the road and go out to Maui and play in the EA Sports Maui Invitational. And so there's going to be a lot of good games out there and a lot of
Yeah,
competition.
they got a regular game against Hawaii first, then they start that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now with the Illinois basketball schedule getting ready to kick off, Bun, first I'll turn to you and the fact that they've had a couple exhibition games, one against Quincy, the other one against Kentucky Wesleyan, to kind of cut their teeth a little bit before the regular season starts. Anything jumps out at you early in terms of the 2007-2008 version of Illinois basketball?
They better learn to play together because they're not playing together right now. I mean, they
Yeah.
played against Kentucky Wesleyan. Kentucky Wesleyan.
I think that's mostly in part because he's just experimenting right now. But when he cut it down to 10 players, which he might only have 8, if that,
Right.
this team is so bad this year that they couldn't even redshirt nobody.
Nobody's red shirt.
And I was NIT bound. I'm just throw it out there.
So you think right now this year's version of Illinois basketball is NIT bound?
Yeah.
Right now, I
It's
look
gonna be
at
it's gonna be a long year in,
Things gonna be a long
in the
year.
bubble city.
Well, if you look at what's happening right now with their schedule, we just mentioned the Maui Invitational that they're going to. They've got to take on Arizona State in the first game, and then they play the winner of Duke and Princeton
which
in the
either
second
team.
round. Duke, as we all know,
It's Duke.
That's Duke. You got Mike Krusarewski down there coaching. The Cameron Crazies will probably fly all the way out there to Maui. And they'll come in with a whole bunch of McDonald's All-Americans on
Right.
their lineup. They'll be loaded up for Illinois.
John Shire.
Later on, Big Ten ACC Challenge, we go to Maryland. You know, we saw what happened last year when Maryland came here.
Yeah.
It was a tough ball game. It was close for 38 minutes, and then Maryland pulled it out at the end. And then our final tough game that I'm looking at on the schedule, the bragging right game down in St. Louis, which is on Saturday, December 22nd. That's going to be a tough one. So Illinois is going to have a good measuring stick for what we're going to see going into Big Ten play.
But nowadays, you know, take a look what happened this week. Who's to say what a tough game is, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Kentucky lost to Gardner and Weber, whoever he is.
Well, maybe this is the coach from Gardner and Weber calling us.
Y'all got jokes, huh?
Caller, tell us your name. Tell us where you're calling from. Tell it like it is.
We're calling from Champaign,
Yes, sir.
and we'd like to hear you talk a little bit about the football game tomorrow.
Okay. Well, actually, we just talked a little bit about that before this segment, but we're looking at tomorrow's game in three areas. Number one, Illinois has got to take Ohio State's first punch at the beginning of the game. Number two, we're not concerned about Illinois' offense. They put 655 in total offense on the board last week against Minnesota. We know Ohio State's got one of the toughest defenses in the nation, but I think we'll be able to move the ball on the ground against Ohio State. The key tomorrow is Illinois' pass defense with Hartline and Robisky and Beckman back there throwing right now 23 touchdowns and almost 2,000 yards. The key to this game is keep it close, keep it one possession going into the fourth quarter. As my colleague Wayne said, Jason Rita, one of the best field goal kickers in the nation. If we can keep it close, we might have a shot tomorrow in the fourth quarter.
What color lucky is? Are they going to win tomorrow or not?
Let me turn to my esteemed colleague, Big Wayne.
Tell it like it is, huh?
Tell it like it is.
For a steak dinner, Illinois 21, Ohio State 17.
Wow.
Illinois 21, Ohio State 17.
He just told it like it was, caller. Check it out tomorrow. Appreciate you calling.
Call me back next week with that steak dinner, bro.
Appreciate you calling UPTV Channel 6. Tell it like it is. Going into the last quarter of the game, last quarter of the show. Talking about Illinois basketball now. Anybody stand out right now? Obviously, Sean Pruitt is the man in the middle for the team. Brian Randall, he's been much maligned in terms of
It's the key to the season right there.
Play and his injury factor that he's been dealing with. You say he's key to the
Key
regular
to the
season.
season. He's a matchup problem, you know. Left-handed, agile, and if you leave him open every now and then, he can hit the three. He's a good rebounder. You just need him on the court. We've never had him on the court in 4 years. If he can play a full season, you know, who knows what this guy can do. You know, with Pruitt down low, Randall is a perfect complementary player. And we know with Chester Frazier, he's going to give us good defense, good ball handling. If he's worked on that jumper over summer, I don't know. But, you know.
You better work on them feet.
Three key players right there, Frazier, Pruitt, and Randall. Them guys can stay healthy.
The key, I mean, Brian Randall, he's a good player. I mean,
he could be
but
one of the
thing
best in the
about
Big
him,
Ten if he's healthy.
He would go down and block your shot, get the rebound, and then come around and come back and go down. He'd dunk the ball, and then he'd come back and play defense. And you take off from him, he'll grab you by the jersey.
Foul.
And then he'll foul, and he'll be like, I ain't do that.
Right.
It's like last year, he didn't care.
Well, I think two of the areas, I have to agree with you on the mental aspect of the game. Sometimes it seems like he has a little problem with attention deficit in terms of really being focused when he's out there on the court. Being a senior, I think his senior leadership is necessary in terms of leading his team. The other thing I think that's going to be an issue is shooting. But before I talk about his shooting, we'll go back to his phone lines, 328-8280. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
It's Big D, man. I'm from Champaign.
Yes, sir.
Hey, first of all, I want to say go Noles and holler at Bundy and tell him and FSU, baby.
FSU
All the way.
knocked him off.
Appreciate you, University.
Second of all, back on the topic at hand, Brian Randall, if we can keep him healthy, man, he hasn't been healthy every year since he's been here. So that's the problem, you know, that we're dealing with right now.
Right.
So, you know, he never really has lived up to his potential. You know, he's Mr. All this and Mr. All that, but we haven't seen it since he's been here.
I have to agree with you on that, caller. One of the other things that I'm looking at is not only has he not been healthy, the other concern is, other than Sean Pruitt and if Randall's healthy, where are you going to get scoring from? And when I mean scoring, from the outside, who's going to be our shooters this year on the 2007-2018?
Well, I've seen him in a couple of exhibition games this year, and so far it looks like that kid, Holmgren or whatever from Centennial, he has a nice jump shot on him. But he plays like a 3 though. He's really not a shooting guard. He's not a 2. He's more of a 3.
Okay, so you're looking at Holdren doing some production from the outside. If you had to pick a surprise player out of the group right now, who would that be?
I probably would have to go with Alexander.
Alexander?
Yeah.
Appreciate you calling.
No problem.
Take care. Well, Wayne, Alexander, you've seen him?
I like his athletic ability, but honestly, my surprise player is Bill Cole.
Bill Cole?
You step out, like I said last week, if he can keep hitting that jump shot, he's going to see a lot of playing time.
I agree with you.
See a lot of playing time. Every team needs a three-point shooter. He's 6'9".
That's the key to the game.
Yeah.
Because this is the last year for the street ball free throw line.
Yeah.
The short 3?
Oh, yeah. Next year it's the long 3.
Yeah, you got to move. It's going to be pushed back just a taste.
That's going to separate.
Right. So I think with that being said, I think one of the areas that I look at, I talked earlier about shooting. Wayne just mentioned Rodney Alexander in terms of his athleticism. I think with that being said, they may have an opportunity to really get out there and run and press the pace in terms of the game. Go back to these phone lines, 328-8280. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
This is Rob Woods. I just want to congratulate you guys on a new season and 2 good co-hosts that you got there with you. I just wanted to add on to the comments that you guys made like about basketball. As far as second shooter, as far as everyone basketball is concerned, I think it comes down to the playground type of basketball that you got coming up. When guys go playing ball, let them do what they do off the court as far as like their own initiative or as far as 5-on-5. Bring them to the court as well. As far as when you've got an opponent in front of you that you're going to try to make a name for yourself or make your team better. You know, just use that as a catalyst to go ahead and I'm going to do what I can for myself as far as work with the team.
Right.
You know, as far as that second shooter or whatever, or anybody else coming, Calvin Bach or anybody else coming off the bench or whatever. When the season's over with and they come to the NBA or anything like that, they do that kind of ball playing, individuality and whatnot. But at the same time, do what the coach and everybody else says as far as the team and the season is concerned. But use that same mentality to say, well, I want to, be a leader, step up and be a leader on my own initiative.
Right, play for the team on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back of the jersey.
Yeah.
We definitely agree with you on that. Caller, we appreciate you calling us. UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. You hit us anytime, Friday nights, 8 o'clock, Channel 6 UPTV. Take care.
Yep.
Right now, Bun, I'll turn to you. Give me a number in terms of total number of wins that you see coming from this Illinois team this year.
17.
17? Big Wayne?
I was going to go with 16, but 17 sounds like a good number.
16, 17 wins.
Middle of the
What about
pack,
you,
Big
Skip?
Skip's going to surprise you.
Oh, Lord.
Illinois will have 23 victories this year. The reason why, Wayne mentioned it earlier, not only have they brought new blood onto this team, they're going to be a lot more athletic than they were last year. I think with the addition of Alexander, Mike Davis to go along with a healthy Brian Randall, Chester Frazier, McCamey, they can go 8-9 deep. And I think with that rotation, constant pressure with the man-to-man defense that Coach Weber likes to employ, if they can get out and run and get some breakaway baskets, they may steal a few victories from teams that we didn't expect them to beat.
Unbutton that collar. Your shirt tight.
My shirt's not tight,
Yeah.
but the phone lines are 328-8280. Caller, tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
This is Patrick calling from Champaign.
Yes, sir.
But I want to know where you think those 23 victories are going to come from.
Thank you, caller.
Patrick, I'm looking at their non-conference schedule. I only see possibly 2 losses in the non-conference schedule, and I can see them at least going 500 or better in the Big Ten Conference. That's where I'm getting my 23 victories from.
So, where are the 2 options going to be, Arizona and Duke?
Right now, going into that Maui Invitational, because it's early in the season, I don't know if that'll occur. I see the Maryland game as being a difficult one. And then, like you mentioned, either Arizona or possibly the bragging right game against Missouri.
I just don't don't think looking at Missouri, Maryland, Duke, and Arizona, you're going to win 2 out of those 4 games when we can't score more than 40 points.
I think we're going to score a lot more than 40 points this year. I think, as I said earlier, because of the athletic ability that this team has,
will be a lot better
last year,
defensively.
there's going to be a lot of transition buckets scored based off of the defense that they're going to be playing. Last year, they were just slow of foot.
Rich McBride couldn't guard anybody. He couldn't even guard himself.
No, he couldn't.
You know?
No, he couldn't. And then I think what we mentioned earlier, Mike Davis, Alexander, and Randall on the wings, a lot more athletic than the team we had last year. Because of that, you can play a more up-tempo style of basketball than they could last year. McCamey at the point is a creative point guard along with Chester Frazier, who'll be able to push the ball. I won't see 40 points a game like you saw last year.
Now, were we counting on Randall last year too? I mean, we've already seen 2 injuries from him in the preseason.
Bruised knee, I don't consider really an injury. That can happen to anybody. I think he's going to come in this season, and I think he's going to put between 12 and 14 points a game on the board for you. Sean Pruitt, when getting the Big Ten schedule, is going to do his job in the post. I think Illinois will surprise some people because they're not as young. They've got a lot of newcomers, but the nucleus of this team is junior and senior laden. So I think that's where I'm looking at in terms of the 23 victories I just mentioned.
Versus playing against a lot of young teams.
Correct.
With Bruce's motion offense, though, do these players have enough athletic ability to run that and score enough points in a Big Ten game where it's bruising?
I think the question I see is the outside shooting. And I mentioned that earlier. You've got 2 guys that will be coming off the bench in terms of Holdren and Meacham. The guys I mentioned, Davis, Alexander, and Randall, they are mid-range jump shooters on the end. But I think because of the motion offense, they'll be able to slash to the basket and create points for themselves as opposed to be stuck in a situation where they're dependent on jump shots.
Okay. I got one. Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
I was looking at the junior recruiting class, and all 3 of them are about 6'3", 6'4", and under 200 pounds.
Correct.
They're all little. Can we get a guy over 200 pounds?
Well, I think by the time they go through their senior year and they get them here on the training table, I think Coach Webb and the rest of the staff will be able to beef them up. They're still young. You got to remember, juniors in high school. I don't think you're the same size you were when you were a junior in high school.
Oh, you know, Patrick might be.
Patrick might be. Patrick, we appreciate you calling. You hit us anytime. UPTV Channel 6. Tell it like it is.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Well, Patrick wants to beef them up. And so with that being said, I'm going to turn to the beef because it's time for the pick segment, guys. We only got a couple minutes left in the show. NFL's week number 10 coming up, as I mentioned earlier.
Hey, man, you keep track of this too now. Man, this man going head to head.
We're going head to head.
Keep track.
Well, we're going to rattle this off real quick. I'll call out the game. Just give me your pick. Starting with Falcons at Panthers. Bun, I'll go with you.
Panthers.
Gotta agree, Panthers.
All right. Broncos, Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Give me the Chefs.
Vikings, Packers.
Packers.
I'm going to give you a half on that. Bills going to the hapless Dolphins.
Bills.
Miami going to sneak that first one of the season. First one of the season.
And I said hapless Dolphins, hapless Rams, go to the Saints.
Saints
They're on the road. Man, give us something we can disagree on, man.
You guys sleeping together?
I took Miami just so I could disagree with him,
here's
man.
one I think you might disagree with. The Browns go to Pittsburgh.
Woo!
5-3, 6-2.
Cleveland.
Okay. Jaguars, Titans.
Jaguars.
Titans.
There's a disagreement there.
Titans. They're at home, man.
Eagles, Redskins.
Skins.
Yeah, Skins.
Cardinals, Lions.
You gotta go with Detroit, man. They hot.
Gotta give you this one. Bears and Oakland.
Bears.
And the big game for the weekend, Cowboys, Giants.
The New York Football Giants.
Man, we didn't do too good this week. I gotta agree with my man over here, man. I'm going with the Giants.
You going with the Giants on that?
I'm going with the Giants.
Well, I tell you what, it has been a nice ride once again. UPTV Channel 6.
You a good driver.
Tell it like it is. Let me pull my horn. Wrong.
Mr. Joe. Driving Mr. Joe.
Driving Mr. Joe. I'm on my CB. Breaker. What's your 20? Your 20 is UPTV Channel 6. Every Friday, 8 o'clock, 1 hour of sports. And we're having a good time. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.
Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15%